Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is the third and final install on how to create your Dylusions day by day journal. Oh, sorry about that. So what I have is I've allowed this to dry for 24 hours, the paint and whatnot, so that way I can show you how to do the doodling as well. And how I always start off is on the calendar page, I have here a guide. And these are all of the places that I'm going to mark off on here to create my 1 1/4 inch squares, which will represent each day of the week. I always start at the bottom and work my way up, and then I start on the right side and work my way to the middle, and I flip my book and go the opposite way. It just makes it easier. When using the grid books, it's a whole lot easier because it's just 6 squares of the tiny grids. But I start off with my pencil. Yes, it's well loved, well used. And I just start marking 1/2 inch, 1 3/4 inch, 3 inch, 4 1/4 inch. It's 1 1/4 inch back to back to back. 5 1/2, 6 3/4, and 7 1/4. This allows for there to be 5 weeks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Move over. Do the same thing. 1 3/4, 3, 4 1/4. That's 4 1/2. Sorry. Erase that. It doesn't have to be precise. Just has to be around about where it goes. 6 1/4 and 7 1/2. Okay. Turn my book, and I'm also going to turn this around so that way my measurements are the same, because if I started from the bottom and worked my way up doing the 1/2 inch and so not, or whatnot, then I'm going to end up with completely different lines. So over here, 1/2 inch, 1 3/4, 3, 4 1/4, 5 1/2, 6 3/4. Oh, no, that's 6 1/2. See? And then 7 1/4. Same thing, come roughly over here, do the same thing. 1 inch, 3, 4 1/4, 5 1/2, 6 3/4, 7 1/4. Alright, now what I do is I flip my book back around. Oh, sorry, flip it this way. And I start drawing in those lines. So that way I have my guidelines to make my lines to go up and down this way. And I don't get confused by the dots. You want to do it very lightly because you are going to erase. That didn't come up quite off. We are still at the lake, so my lighting sucks. And that background noise that sounds like a fan, I can't do anything about it. It is our air conditioner. And if you've ever been in a camper before, you know that it's loud and there's really not much you can do to make it not be loud. Outside I turn it off, and then it just gets way too hot in here. It's like being in a tin can. Best you can. They might be a little wonky because the book isn't level, which I could flip around and make it more even for me. But for of just showing you and doing it, we're going to do it this way. Alright. Now, going inwards, we're going to have our, our journal block, ruler, whatever you have, and we're going to go over 1/4 inch. So we're going to skip the 1/2 inch. We're just going to go over, 1 1/4 inch. We're going to go 1 1/4, and then we're going to go to 2 1/2. If I'm not much mistaken. And then we're going to go to 3 1/4. Only on this side of the book though, and I'll tell you why in just a second. So 1 1/4, 2 1/2, 3 3/4. I like to do it 3 different times so I have a top and a bottom to go off of. Now, instead of just going on over 1/4 inch, I flip my book and I start on the opposite side doing the exact same thing, because there will be one line that is a little bit wider than the rest, and if you have it as your center, like for instance would be Wednesday for us here in America. In Europe, I think it's, because their week starts on Monday, so I would assume that it's a Thursday, a Tuesday, I'm not certain. No, sorry, a Thursday. Yeah. So, kind of line that up there. If you have the wider at the end, that's totally up to you. It's just, it's going to look a little bit off having, I'll have to show you. It's hard to explain. Alright, wait a minute. 1 1/4. 2 1/2. Sorry guys, I have to say these out loud to myself. Alright, so as you can see, we've got our lines. Now, just from the top here, we're not going to go all the way up. We're going to go from that line right there to this line and draw our blocks in, or finish off our blocks, I should say. At this point, it doesn't matter how messy it looks because you're going to go over it with a pen, a paint pen, and whatnot. Alright? You can make your squares as small or as large as you want to. I like this size because it gives me room to write in what I want. For instance, I write in, I'll show you in my other book in just a second. Alright, I'll show you. I put, if it was sunny and hot and whatnot in those days, or the dates that we were at the lake, you know. This gives me plenty of room to do it this way. Now, August has 31 days in it, and I know that the first starts on a Sunday. A Sunday for us here in America is on the left-hand side. I also know that it ends on a Tuesday, which would be here because there's 5 weeks in this month. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to erase the ones that I know I do not need for sure. So that way whenever I do line it with a black pen, I'm not lining blocks that I'm not going to utilize. And this allows me space for decorating later. Alright, so now that point is done. I'm going to put my cap back on because these are quite expensive pencils and I like the lead to be sharp. Now, I'm going to take my Uni Posca pen. It's a 1MR, which I think is the finest tip that they make for the actual paint pens of Uniball, or sorry, of Posca, but I'm not sure. They're just the finest one I have found. I would use my Dylusions one, but I don't want to take a chance on damaging it because I'm going to use the side of my journaling block to help me outline these. For this, I will probably flatten out my book a bit, and to do that, all you do is you take half of your book, turn it around, and give it a smush. There we go. That's a little bit better. Open your pen. Go right along your lines again. If you had a steadier hand than I, you wouldn't even have to do it this way, but my hand is not near as steady as it used to be. And straight down. That, move down. If you're using a new pen, you have to be careful because the ink can leak onto your journaling block or your ruler, and if you just slide it straight down like I'm doing, you can smear ink down. But this is not a newer pen, so the ink is not flowing at a rapid speed. Matter of fact, I need to get some more come down. Sorry, I have to turn my book for this, guys, to drag the pen towards me. I find I get straighter lines that way. So down here where I don't need these, I'm just going to stop my pen at the line that it ends at right there. Turn my book and do the exact same thing on the other lines. Go from top to bottom. You don't want to go past it unless you want that look, but that's not what I prefer. So. The ironic thing is, I don't have my, I believe it's called like numerology stamps, Dylusions. It may not be, but her number stamps and her days of the weeks. I don't have them with me, so we'll be doing this calendar page a little bit different than I normally do, which is fine. We can burn together, I guess. Going through and erasing any pencil stuff that can really be seen, because I don't want that in there for the sake of the way I'm going to be decorating this. Find my larger eraser here. There we are. Another well-loved eraser. Well, I don't know. Is it well-loved if you use it so much and it gets all yucky? Or is it just well used? And let me know in the comments below. Alright. Take this off really quick. Okay. Now, to get down to the painting of it, I had an idea in mind. I looked and I didn't see the inks for her cocktail colors. So, since that is the next step to this process, I decided we're gonna do it a little bit different. Typically, I paint them all in inks. It's real quick, real easy. You can just get over a thing. Quite simple. This one, it's gonna have to be done a little bit different, and the fact that I don't have everything I usually use here, it's kind of gonna be a learning curve, but I'm also only going to use, I believe, 5 of the colors that I used in the book, as opposed to the full 6, and I'm going to be using black. So for decorating up here and down here where the days of the weeks are not, I will not be able to do that today because the paint will need to dry for 24 hours before I can take my white paint pen and go in and doodle it. It's not worth running a white paint pen over. Alright, let's start with the yellow. Again. Give her a shake. And because these paints dry so fast, it's nice. Dry to the touch, I guess. It doesn't mean that they're completely dry per se. Put me a dot on, load it up. And my idea is to go every 5th one. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn my book to make it a little bit easier for me. Stick my thing on and twist. Just like that. 2, 3, 4, 5. And twist. 2, 3, 4, 5. Right there in the center. It's a smaller one, but it is what it is. Twist. That one's not getting much on, so I might have to give me a bit more. Twist. The main reason that I wanted to do it this way is because I wanted to use the exact colors that were in the book already. Alright, let's move on to the next color really fast. Orange. Is that the one I want next to it? That's fine. Yeah, because it doesn't matter. They're not going to be touching. Shake that very well. Okay. And level. Load up my thing. Make sure I get a good amount of ink on. Also, by doing it this way, you're dispersing the ink evenly throughout that. And that's what makes these reusable. Without washing them, they'll stay soft and good. I'm going to the next one after every yellow one. And just gonna put my dot for that day. This one did not get a lot of paint on apparently. If it did, it got right in the middle. And one more over here because I know it'll end up there. Sorry if my hand's in the way. There we are. That's what it looks like for now. See if I can get a bit more of that one. There. This process is actually fairly quick, but it's even quicker with the inks, I believe. Just my personal opinion. Alright, now for the pink. Go ahead and put this here because I know that it goes here. And here. And here. That one's going to overlap because it is in the smaller area. Here. And here. And twist. Like that. We are at the ugly phase. Alright, the next one I want to use is blue. Alright. Blue goes after pink, yeah. Twist. Twist. And it's going to go up here because the last one was the green. Oops. Oh, I think I forgot a pink. Darn it, I did. Oh well, I'm going to do it again in just a second. Get these on. Blue's not very dark, but it doesn't matter. Let's see if I have any more ink on here. Or, I keep saying ink, I mean paint. And this one over here. Give it a good pressure. Okay, grab my green. Give it a shake. Some out. This. And put in my last dots. They don't have to be perfect dots. It's just to provide color in the background. Alright, we're done with that. Now we're going to grab the black. And because I'm going all black up here and down here, I have some papers here to mask that off with a bit so I don't cover over any of my other squares. I'll do the bottom first, then I'll move my papers up and do the top. Give me some black on the page. I know it's going to take more. So let's just load up my foam brush, or sorry, my foam pad. This way, and just go right over it. Not have to be perfect. these up here. Just go along the lines of my days of the week. Like so. Not sure if I have any more. Nope, I'll put a little bit more on. It's not going to take much because it's not a big area. Right, fill those off, and there we have it. We have that now. I love how the white and the black pop, which is actually a cream. It's not really a white, but it just looks pretty. On to the next step. As you can see, the paint didn't go all the way down because I had my paper not perfectly in line, which was fine. I'll just take my black pen, paint pen, and go over it a bit. Will it stand out a little? Yes. But it matters not. There we go. Now, because I don't have my stamps and all that lovely jive down here for the days, to number the days of the week, I am going to be using the Dylusions Creative Diary stickers. And I believe I need this one here, collection 2, because it has a wonderful collection of dates on. So let's just grab this, and I'm going to simply start placing them where they go. Number 1 goes obviously on the first. Like so. Give it a good rubbing. Two. Since these are stickers, I have no idea what the longevity is. I have used them in my books prior made, and I haven't had any fallout or want to pill up or anything. However, who knows? It's not been years and years worth of usage, I guess. I'll continue that on, but I want to move on to the very next thing. Up here, again, it's one of those areas where I usually just use her stamps that say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you know. I'm just going to write it in for the sake of writing it in. And I am going to use the short form of the days. My writing is quite sloppy. But not that big of a deal. There we are. Just continue on filling in your days of the week, numbering them, I guess. And when this is dry, I will take my Dylusions paint pen and put in the month down here probably, and then I'll just doodle some things up here. Now, to show you the one other thing that I do on the borders, because these have had a full 24 hours to dry. I'm going to take my paint pen sure that it's working. And I am literally just going to outline and doodle in some of these. Maybe all, I'm not sure. The messier the better. Precision tends to look messier in the end because you always find faults in it. Go over to this side, do the same thing. And one thing I have found is repetitive, simplistic doodling is the best. Could you imagine the static your brain would have trying to come up with 31 different doodles to make each page completely different, when in reality your foreground, whatever you put on it, is going to make them different. On these, I just go in, put a circle through all of the circle ones, and a rectangle. By putting the white on top of the black, it kind of pushes the black further back. As to over here, you see it pops out a whole lot. Over here, it still pops, but it kind of pushes it further into the background. I'll just show you all the different ones that I have, and I will do the exact same thing on all of them that look like this, and so on and whatnot. Arrows, just outline them. Not perfect by any means, as you can see. On these, instead of just doing a straight line up, you could, I tend to do little dots just where it's the thickest at, and then I stop. And on the petals, just outline them. You can go in and make pretty little designs or zigzags, but this is the easiest, and you don't want this to be your focal point, unless you do, and that's fine. But since you don't want that to be your focal point, you don't really want to add a lot of detail to it. And the flowers. And doing this ahead of time, as opposed to, let's say you're going to do some collaging on these. It just makes it easier so you're not like drawing around the items. You know, you've got a big image here and you're trying to draw on these little doodles over here. This just makes it a whole lot easier too. You can do it, it just saves that much more time and headache, I guess. Right? Is there any more that I need to show you? Nope, I believe that's it. So what I'll do is I will finish filling in my days of the week. Sorry, my dates of the week. And then go finish doodling these off. And this book is completely ready for me to use come the 1st of August. Alright, if you guys like this video, please like and subscribe. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. And thanks for watching. Bye-bye.